And I also have to send this link to others, and then we can start. Okay. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, Asmat Gurubhyo Namaha, Asmat Parama Gurubhyo Namaha, Asmat Sarva Gurubhyo Namaha, Shri Krishna Parabrahmane Namaha, Shri Lakshmi Namaha Parabrahmane Namaha, Shri Lakshmi Hayavadaram Parabrahmane Namaha, Sarvam Shri Krishna Namaste. So, oops, let's see. So, what is the question before we start?
Yeah, I want to know whether I understood well. According to Madhva, Brahman is supreme. That is, Brahman or Vishnu is a supreme, and everybody else is his creation, or others are all jivas. Right? Am I right? Including Lakshmi. Yes. Are they equivalent to jivas? Including Lakshmi.
They're all jivas. Yes, you're right.
Including Lakshmi.
Yes.
Then, but Lakshmi has the power to influence Vishnu, just like Vishishtadvaita. Am I right?
See, to what extent everybody is dependent, right? And see, in Madhvacharya, those kind of details are not very visible to me. Okay, the reason is that is a Sampradayik issue. In Vishishtadvaita, they have developed it into such an extent, saying that look, Lakshmi can influence Vishnu in some part of, according to Vishishtadvaita, in the Deshika Sampradaya, Lakshmi and Narayana are exactly equal in a way. In the Tengalai Sampradaya, there is a small difference. Okay, so it's very complicated when you go into hair splitting details. That's one thing. And in Madhvacharya, all we know is clearly Vishnu Hari is Brahman, and Lakshmi is a separate Jiva, but Lakshmi has Sarvajnatva, and she has many, she is the highest Jiva, by the way. So, by nature, she can understand not completely Hari, but to some extent Hari. Okay, or highest extent, like anybody, nobody else can understand Hari as much as Lakshmi can. So these are some differences.
Okay, thank you.
I'm having a doubt, sir.
Yeah.
In the
Hey, your audio is very bad. Hey, give me just 1 second. Give me 30 seconds.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Is the concept of moksha in Dvaita is similar to that of Vishishtadvaita, sir?
Not exactly. The thing is, in Dvaita, there is still, see, the thing is, there is similarity in some ways, somewhere it is not similar. In Dvaita, you still definitely separate from Vishnu even after attaining moksha. You can only experience the amount of bliss you are potentially able to experience due to your own true nature of a jiva. So if 3 people get moksha, each person gets a different level of bliss in moksha according to Dvaita. That is not there in Vishishtadvaita. In Vishishtadvaita, all jivas will attain the same level of bliss in moksha. So there are a number of such minor differences.
Thank you, sir.
Krishna,
Huh?
this discussion has made me think. I also have a question. How do we actually, how do we know that there's a difference in bliss, first of all?
How do we know there is a difference of bliss? What bliss are we talking about? So explain to me a little bit more. Your question is a little bit cryptic.
No. If there is a taratamya there, how will one know that that there is a difference in the bliss that one is experiencing and another it is greater? How will we know that actually?
We can never know, right? That is, you can experience according to Dvaita. See, we're only talking about 2 viewpoints, as 2 or 3 viewpoints. According to Dvaita Vedanta, each one can get only a particular level of bliss. Okay. So, for example, Lakshmi gets the highest level of bliss, and Lakshmi is she ever in moksha? Probably she is. So, Nitya Muktas, she is one of the Nitya Muktas, right? So, I also checked out, I should have sent you that PowerPoint where they separate out Nityas also. According to Jivas, there are Nityas in Dvaita, Vedanta. So, each Nitya is of a different kind. Vayu is of a different kind. Rudra is of a different kind. So, there are 33 classes of jivas. How would you know the level of bliss? Is only, see, you can give an explanation. Remember in the Taittiriya Upanishad, there is Ananda Mimamsa is there, right? That is Ananda Valli. Te Shatam Manusha Ananda. Like that, they keep on comparing the Ananda of a human being. Suppose the Ananda of a human being, suppose somebody is the king of the whole world and he has all the wealth and very good health and excellent brilliance and everything like that. So whatever Ananda that is 1 unit of Manusha Ananda. Then 100 such units of Manusha Ananda is some Manusha Gandharva, then Gandharva, Deva Gandharva. All these different levels are described in the Taittiriya Upanishad. That in one way you can roughly think that is, but can you experience the bliss of somebody else? No. And that is true for everybody, right? It's almost a true statement irrespective of whether you follow any particular school of Vedanta, right?
Another thing is, what you have pointed out is also nice, that Taittiriya is the same. But they look to be some the gradation of happiness based on some haves and have-nots, right? It's more like that. But from the point of view of pure self-realization, is there possibility that one can tell that his Ananda is more than the other person's Ananda? Is it possible like that?
Maybe for yogis they can. See, the thing is, what do you call, yogis probably can somehow find out, right? That is possible. Definitely yogis can, that's what I feel. They may have a way to get into the very self of somebody else and then feel the Ananda of the other person. See, even in the Shankaracharya's Katha, right, that is in his story, they say about he got inside the body of a king to understand the life and happiness and experiences of a king or something like that, right? So there may be some way of doing it. How do they do it? No idea. But it's possible, I think, that the yogis can feel what level each jivatma is. According to what yoga subject says is the Nadi Shastra. There is something known as the Nadi Shastra. By just finding the pulse of a person, it is not exactly pulse. The Nadi is Kapha, Vata, Pitta. There is an Ayurvedic 3 terms, right? By understanding the Kapha, Vata, Pitta, one can understand spiritually where this person is, in what level of spirituality this person is. In a way, they analyze the sattva, rajas, tamo gunas of a person to see how blissful it is. Blissful is obviously a blissful state is it refers to the highest level of sattva guna.
Okay.
In the embodied condition, but in the non-embodied condition where jivatma is somewhere else, and then how will this person understand the bliss of some other jivatma? You know, these topics are out of syllabus.
Okay.
Can't understand unless you experience.
This is Prashant here. Just one query which comes to my mind. But is there any evidence of Taratamya or gradation in Upanishads or Vedas? The way Madhvacharya explains.
See, Madhvacharya, remember Paramashruti, he quotes Paramashruti, which is not available to the other people. This Paramashruti is quoted by, there are few Shrutis quoted by Madhvacharya, which the other people don't know about. So he says in the Paramashruti, Jiva, Jiva, Veda is there, and it's all indicated in the Shruti very clearly. And he will probably quote some Puranic quotes and say that's how we believe that, yes, these Puranic quotes also support this Jiva, Jiva, Veda and things like that. So Taratamya is supported by them, by different analysis. See, the moment you say text, in fact, when you go deeper to today's class, we cannot even come to the particular statement asked by Sureshji, Sadeva Somidavakrajiti Ekameva Dvitiyam. Okay, I wanted to address that today, but I have 10 slides to explain before even coming to that section of Chandogya Upanishad today. So each Acharya quotes different set of scriptures and then justifies their view. The question is, these are all, how do you know a particular Acharya is right or wrong? How? Have you thought about this?
We don't know that anyway.
Only when you really experience and you become a Sarvajna, by the grace of Lord, you become a Sarvajna, then you will know. Till then, nothing is known clearly. So these are 3 viewpoints. Mata. See, just because people have 3 or 4 or 5, 10 viewpoints, they are so segregated. They don't allow you to a different club. You're not allowed in one club. You're allowed in a particular club if you have that view. Think about it. None of these people have probably experienced that view. But just the fact that you subscribe to a view, that is enough for you to get entry permission, visa, passport, to get into some clubs. That's happening all over the world, right?
Yes. Okay.
It shows the shallowness of human life.
Yeah.
That's all.
Thank you.
Sir, one last question. I want to know, Madhvacharya wrote commentary on the 3 Prasthanatraya. He has written commentary, sir.
Yes. All the 3. That is Upanishad, Brahma Sutras, and Bhagavad Gita. He did all the 3, Prasthanatrayas he commented on. So only Ramanujacharya did not comment directly on the Upanishads, even though in the Vedanta Sangraha, in Sri Bhashya and all, he has commented on major statements of pretty much all Upanishads. So he did not write a separate commentary. There are reasons for it. Some people say that there was a commentary written by some other what do you call Vakyakara or somebody, which was and also some Vritti Grantha was there, which was sufficient to explain Vritti Grantha on the Brahma Sutras. So the thing is, these were sufficient to explain all the Upanishad Vakyas. So there was no need to write another Upanishad Bhashya at that time. So I don't remember who exactly the name of the person who wrote, who probably had a Upanishad Bhashya. I'm not. Rangaramanujan's Bhashya came much later than Ramanujacharya, right? So according to Vishishtadvaita, we do have Rangaramanuja Bhashya on all the major Upanishads. But Rangaramanuja Bhashya came much later, even after Vedanta Deshika. Vedanta Deshika came in the 13th century, and Rangaramanuja Bhashya probably belongs to 15th or 16th century. I don't know. It could be somewhere there. So, did Ramanujacharya write the Bhashya directly? He did not write on the Upanishads, but he has written on pretty much all the major statements of the Upanishads in his Sri Bhashya and the Sri Bhashya, Vedanta Sangraha, Vedanta Sara, and Vedanta Deepa.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. So we can go further in the class. All right. Okay. So we were talking about Tattvamasi of Chandogya Upanishad. So Madhvacharya's view on Tattvamasi, we already covered a lot. We are just summarizing and getting the connect with the previous class so that everybody understands where we are and where we are going. So Tattvamasi means, O Shvetaketu, as addressed by the sage Uddalaka, who is the teacher and father. Uddalaka tells Shvetaketu, you are subordinate to Narayana. Narayana is the pradhana, that is the main, most important. Rest are dependent. You are dependent on Narayana, and that is why you are that. So Atatvamasi is the meaning. Atatvamasi means you are not that in a way. But Tattvamasi can also be taken directly according to Madhvacharya. Tattvamasi means Tasyatvamasi. That means you belong to him. You belong to Narayana. Tasmattvamasi. Because of Narayana, you are like this. Your capabilities are dependent on Narayana. So we have to take it in a different way. This is the idea of Madhva Bhashya. Okay. Now, the next shloka here in the Chandogya Upanishad, Yatha somyekena mritpindena sarvam ranmayam vijnatam syat vacharambanam vikaro namadheyam mritika ityeva satyam. If you look at this verse, what it says is, like by knowing a single lump of earth or clay, you know all the objects made of clay or earth. Vacharambanam vikaro namadheyam mritika ityeva satyam means all changes are mere words in name only. But clay is the reality. This is the, it is actually clay, is what people say. But here we are looking at a little bit, this translation is a little bit more Advaitic. That's all, it doesn't matter. This particular shloka, verse 6.1.4 is very important because three acharyas have very different views on the same sentence. So Madhvacharya says, knowing clay, you can understand the effects or the effects of clay, like pots and so on. Similarly, if you know Brahman as Satya or real, you will also know universe, which is similar to Brahman, and it is Satya or real. So Madhvacharya focuses on similarity rather than causality. Madhvacharya accepts that, yes, what do you call, Brahman is the cause, In what way? Brahman just put things together. In that way, he's a controller, he's a power. In that way, he is the cause. But he does not transform into the universe, according to Madhvacharya. Like how clay transforms into pots and other effects. Brahman does not really transform into Brahman, into other effects like universe. So the big difference here is Madhvacharya says Brahman does not transform. And so Brahman cannot be the material cause of the universe. So what is the material cause of the universe? Prakriti, Mula Prakriti, the original causal matter, Prakriti. So Madhvacharya says the effects are dependent on Narayana. So are all Jivas, Devatas, and Jada and everybody. They are all effects. They are dependent on Narayana. But what happens is there is a famous statement here. This whole statement in the past, right? Yatha somyekena mritpindena sarvam mranmayam vijñātam syāt. Vijñātam syāt is by knowing the clay, you know every effect of the clay. Sarvam mranmayam. All that things which are transformations of the clay is known by knowing the clay. Then what happens is, there is this principle known as Eka Vijñānena Sarva Vijñānam. Eka Vijñāna means knowing one thing, you know everything. You know clay, you know everything made of clay. So this is a very important principle established in this Chhandogya Upanishad. And knowing Brahman, you will know all effects of Brahman. This is what is declared in this Upanishad statement. Now, take it further. How? So, Eka Vijñānena Sarva Vijñānam, how can you understand is the question. Now, Madhvacharya says, Mritika is mud or clay. Mritika is a Sanskrit word, and it is an eternal word. So, what do you call, what Madhvacharya says is Sanskrit is a divine language. And it is the words of Sanskrit originally are Nitya or eternal. So knowing the eternal word Mritika, one can know all the transformations which are Anitya, like Ghata, they're all Anitya. They're all transformations. If you make it as a bowl, you will call it as a bowl. So the thing is, even all other languages other than Sanskrit, those words are, according to Madhvacharya, just creation of the vocal cords. And they are not eternal words. Eternal words always existed. Even if there is no mud on earth, the word mud always existed. Even before the creation of the world we live in, mud, the Mritika always existed. That is, the word Mritika always existed. So that is how Madhvacharya talks about the theory of Sanskrit and words. So the other, for example, what is Ghata? Ghata is only Abhivyakti. Abhivyakti means it is not it is an Anitya word, or it is not an eternal word. It's a formed word. Similarly, all other words in English like mud, pot, all those things are created words. They are not original, eternal padas. This is a theory. Okay, this goes into theory of words, theory of languages, and all those things. It's a little bit complicated. So Madhvacharya now makes different meanings out of here. Similarly, by knowing Narayana, Pradhana, Narayana is the Pradhana, important, main, right? He is the independent one. By knowing the independent main thing, person, Narayana, everything else is known. Apradhana names are known. Apradhana means not important, not main. That is, other words. They're all known. So original Sanskrit terms are eternal. Other languages words are anitya or vikaras. Vikaras are transformations. Apradhana, not important. So then you can say, what is the Sanskrit language? They say Sanskrit language came, it is a Daiva Bhasha. It came through the Indriyas. The Devatas are the controllers behind the Indriyas. So it originally came out. So how the Vak and Artha are, Vak means speech. Artha means object. So if I say mud pot, the speech is mud pot. But the thing is, what is the object? That is the real mud pot, right? The speech and objects are connected eternally. And Kalidasa says in his, I think Raghuvamsha's some particular work, Vagartha viva sampraktau Vagartha pratipattaye Jagataspita Vande Parvati Paramashruti. This is what Kalidasa says. What does it mean? Like how Vak and Artha. Vak is speech. Artha is object or meaning. Both are always together. Like that, this Parvati Parameshwara is together, and I pay my obeisances to Parvati Parameshwara. Vagartha Pratipattaye, to understand the words and meanings. Right? That's what Kalidasa said. And you know that the divine origin of Sanskrit, because it seems that the Vyakarana, the Panini, even the grammar is divine in Sanskrit. Vyakarana came from Shiva, who danced in front of Panini, the creator of Sanskrit language grammar, and showed him, guided him through shabdas, through the sounds of his damaru, the drum. He showed Panini, guided Panini to understand and write up the entire Sanskrit grammar. And you look at the simple word, damaru. Look at the original, that is Sanskrit. Damaru is Sanskrit. What is the English word? Drum. You know that a lot of languages came out of Sanskrit. So the original language is Sanskrit. They are eternal words because they are inbuilt in nature by how the indriyas, the senses and sense objects and everything, how they are connected in this universe originally. It's eternal. Like that, Sanskrit words are eternal according to Madhvacharya. Now, see now, the Eka Vijnanena Sarva Vijnanam is very important. The Upanishad itself goes and talks about several analogies. Analogies means it first talks about Yatha Somya Ekena Mritpindene Sarvam Brahmayam Vijnatam Syat. It first talks about the Mritya. Mritya is the mud. That's the first example. The second example is Lohamani. So what does it say? Yatha Somya Ekena Lohamanina Sarvam Lohamayam Vijnatam Syate Vacharambanam Vikaro Namadeyam Lohamani Nityeva Satyam. Lohamani, according to Madhvacharya, Madhva, its Lohamani is gold. It is the celebrated among the metals. Loha is metal. So Lohamani is gold, according to Madhvacharya. Probably the other acharyas use Lohamani as just metal, right? By knowing gold, the celebrated among metals, the other metals are known like steel, copper and all because they are similar to gold in a way. So by knowing the pradhana or the important, other things can be known. And there is the second part of the same sentence here is Vacharambanam Vikaro Namadeyam Lohamani Nityeva Satyam. That is the second part. Vacharambanam means just to that gives you the capability to talk, speech. It gives rise to speech. So what the way Madhva Bhashya understands this is the other language words are anitya. Lohamani is a Sanskrit term, it is Nitya. When you know the original Sanskrit term, all other terms are understood. Only when you know the Sanskrit terms, you'll get the real value. If somebody is not born here, somebody is born in Sweden and they have a different name for gold and everything else, won't they get the real value? It's a little bit of I don't understand the meaning extremely well here. This might have some yogic significance, I don't understand, because it seems in the yoga, the word and meaning are non-separate. They're not separate. The word, for example, somebody meditates on Krishna, they can directly realize Krishna. Somebody meditates on the Omkara, they can directly realize Parabrahman, who is denoted by the Omkara. So the words and objects are not totally connected in yoga, right? So the way Madhvacharya explains, he explains in a different way. I don't understand that extremely well. Okay, I've studied this, and this is the best I can do for you. Then you might ask, how much have you studied this? I have to thank Dr. N.S. Anantarangacharya, that is the father of Narasimhan, my good friend. N.S. Anantarangacharya, when I was about 33, 34 years old, when I came to his home and requested, my grandfather requested on behalf of me to teach Chhandogya Upanishad. And just this section, that was section 6 of Chhandogya Upanishad, he spent about more than 3 hours a day for about a couple of months. We did almost every day or every other day, about probably 100 hours or 200 hours, 100, 150 hours. Tirelessly, he explained Chhandogya Upanishads according to different acharyas. Mainly, we were dealing with, at that time, Advaita Bhashya and Rangaramanuja Bhashya of Vishishtadvaita, background, right? Vishishtadvaita system. That this Chandogya Upanishad 6th section is so difficult to understand. And because he taught me so long ago, and because I'm also working on with all this other Bhashyas, Madhu Bhashya and all, I'm getting some sense of it. Not that I know everything. In fact, for example, this knowing the Sanskrit words, all other words, it's a little difficult for me to understand. And I cannot explain to you better than this. Okay. Now, nail cutter, if you know Nakhakrantana is nail cutter. So even in those Upanishadic times, they had Nakhakrantana, the nail cutters. By knowing a nail cutter, you know all items made of iron. So when you know Brahman, you will know similar entities in this universe. Other languages' words are apradhana. Nakhakrantana is also a Sanskrit word. The other words are apradhana. That is how Madhvacharya takes it. So Madhvacharya focuses on similarity, not transformation. They don't say that because iron is the common thing, iron gets transformed into a nail cutter or anything made of iron, like a hammer or anything like that. So, but thing is, Madhvacharya does not focus on transformation at all. Transformation is not important for him, only similarity. Because transformation means lots of problems. Because the Brahman is transforming himself to the universe. And what happens to Brahman? Is he already transformed into this universe? Where is he now? Is he over? Is gone? Because Brahman is already transformed. Is he remaining or what? So many questions come up in transformation theory known as Parinamavada. Parinamavada is very difficult. And Madhvacharya says, I'm staying away from this Parinamavada. I don't want this Parinamavada. I would focus and explain things to fit into Arambhavada. Arambhavada is a new product is designed, comes out. So from Brahman, anything which comes out is new. From mud, if a part is different from the mud, that's a new product. It's a new name, new object. So, so the Madhvacharya's views are similar to the Tarkika views. Okay, he says, knowing Vishnu, all dependent entities are understood. This is said in the Sama Samhita. So the thing is, Madhvacharya quotes from Sama Samhita, clearly which explains these Lohamani, nail cutter, and other the mud examples in Sama Samhita, very similar to what he says that is focusing on similarity rather than transformation. Okay, now there was a doubt. What is the doubt?
This is Prashant. So, not a doubt, but adding to what you said. So, Professor M.G. Prasad used to say that if we consider Para, Pashyanti, Madhyama, and Vaikari, Sanskrit words come out of Para. Those are like the bija words which come out of the like Para into which transform into Vak. While the other languages, the words from other languages, those are just heard in the Vaikari, not deep from the Para.
That is a very powerful statement. I respect Dr. M.G. Prasad a lot. That is the valuable information. So that is why yogis know this information better. Para is something so internal, and probably Samskrita comes from Para mainly. That's possible. Good point. Okay. So Madhvacharya's view says that Advaitic bhashyas are erroneous anyway, he says. Why? What does Advaita view say, first of all? Before saying Advaita is erroneous here in this particular context, we need to understand Advaitic bhashya. What is the Advaitic bhashya? Like how the mud, if mud is known, all the effects of mud are known. So once you know it is clay or mud, pot, you just call it as pot. It's just name, but it's basically mud only. Nothing but mud. You just, because of the small shape difference, you call it as a pot. You call the same thing as a bowl just because there is a different shape. But really, what is the bowl? It is mud only. So what Advaitic Bhashya says, Mithya, Vacharambanam Vikaro Namadheyam. That means this is the pot and everything, all the effects from the original thing are not true. The truth is only mud. The rest, the pot is only mud only. The potness, the pot aspect, that is untrue. So all is just names and forms. So anything which has a name or a form is not true. That is how Shankaracharya decides here. Very, very complicated area of Chhandogya Upanishad, which gives rise to very different views. That's how people understand it. Okay. But Madhvacharya challenges this and say, why are you saying it is Mithya? The pot and other things are Mithya. There is no Mithya word in the original Upanishad. Vacharambanam vikaro namadheyam mrittika ityeva satyam is what is there. Shankaracharya thinks that mrittika eva satyam. That means the mud is real. Rest are not real. That's how Shankaracharya takes. The cause is real, but the effects are unreal. The cause is Brahman. Brahman is real. The effects of Brahman, which includes the universe, Jivas, Jada, and everything which comes out of Brahman, they are not real. That is how Shankaracharya takes it. Madhvacharya questions this and says, look, if we accept universe is the effect and it came out of Brahman and Brahman is the cause, then the Jagat, which is the effect, it has to be real as the cause. So if Brahman is real, the effects of Brahman should be real too. And you cannot call them Mithya or unreal. On the other hand, Advaitins state that the pot, ghata, sharava, and other transformations of mud are just names and forms. In reality, there is nothing but only mud. And all the names and forms are unreal, according to Shankaracharya. Ghata and Sharava are just nomenclature referring to only mud. So Advaita states, Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. Jagat is Mithya, Brahman is Satyam. So Jagat is superimposed on Brahman. It should be on Brahman. Yeah, there's an error. Jagat is superimposed on Brahman. Aropita. Aropita on Brahman. Aropita is the Sanskrit word for superimposition. Like how silver is superimposed on a shell. Shell looks like silver and you think, oh, that is silver. No, it's not silver, it is shell. So the silver was never there. You're superimposing silver on shell like that. Shell or water. Water means, here I have not, the sentence is erroneous. Excuse me. We think that the mirage is water, but there is no water in the mirage. Similarly, we say there is a snake, but actually it is the rope. There is no snake, but you superimpose snake on the rope. Like that Brahman, the whole universe is superimposed on Brahman. That is what Shankaracharya says. Here Madhvacharya says, the original words does not indicate Mithya at all. The unreality issue is never brought up in the original Upanishads. So he argues against it. Then, on top of it, Eka Vijnanena Sarva Vijnanam, knowing the mud or the clay, you know the effects of clay, which is the pot and a bowl and all, right? So, how can you know, from the Advaita perspective, how can you know all the unreal superimposed things when you know the substratum, that is Brahman? If substratum is Brahman, once you know Brahman, how do you know what is superimposed on Brahman? According to Advaita, Madhvacharya questions, if you know Brahman, which is truth, and since the universe is false, you should not be able to understand anything about the false. The false is not there. It's gone, vaporized, sublated. Once you know Brahman, the universe is unknown. That is, unknown means it is not there at all. Like how camphor, once it burns, there's no camphor, it's burnt. So the universe, the false universe is sublated by the knowledge of Brahman. If that is according to Advaita, if that is the case, how can you know what is sublated? Once you know Brahman, only you know Brahman, because that's the only thing which is existing. And the rest of the universe will vanish from your sight and you cannot know what it is. So there are a million things in this universe which are not really apart from Brahman, because everything is only an appearance of Brahman. They are not apart from Brahman. But when you know Brahman, you will not know all of them at all. None of them, in fact. So this is the argument of Madhvacharya. Now, Madhvacharya says the three analogies are better suited to Dvaitic interpretation than the Advaitic interpretation. What is that? Mud, nail cutter, mud, gold. These are the three analogies given in the Upanishad. Why are the three analogies? They are separately given so that three dimensions are intended. The mud is for the transformation. The nail cutter is for the idea that by knowing an insignificant, trivial thing, you can know big things made out of iron. And gold is by knowing the main pradhana, you can know other metals, which are apradhana, steel, copper, aluminum. They don't have much value. Gold has value. Once you know gold, you know similar metals. So the nail cutter is example for alpavastu. Alpavastu is insignificant. Once you know an insignificant thing, you can know the big thing. If that is the case, when you know the big thing, you obviously know everything else. That is the way he understands it. Swamiji, that is Madhvacharya. So, what Madhvacharya argues is for Advaita Bhashya, just the mud analogy is enough. There is no need to go to nail cutter and gold and all. There is no, because their idea is very simple. That is, what is the material cause is the mud. Then you know everything made out of mud. Brahman is the material cause, everything else is known. Why there are three analogies? Because similarity is indicated here rather than transformation. This is the justification of Madhvacharya. Okay. Now, how are we doing so far? Any questions?
No.
Okay, no problem. Somebody had to leave. That's all. Okay. Anything else? You're okay? Did I put you to sleep? Everybody is snoring. What?
No, sir. I understand.
Okay. Yeah. So, coming back to the continuing what we said, Vishishtadvaita Bhashya differs a little bit here, right? For Vishishtadvaita, knowing the cause, you know the effect. The effect is non-different from the cause. That is the idea of the Upanishad. That is, everything here, what we see, is nothing but the cause, which is Brahman. Oh my God, is the same as the Advaita? No, there's a small difference here, right? There's a small difference. What it is there, what do you call, which in Vishishtadvaita, there is the Sharira Shariri Bhava. Sharira Shariri Bhava means it is like Jiva and the body, the soul and the body, or Atma and the body. So the universe and everybody, or everybody in the universe, like Jivatma, universe, and everything else, or the body of Paramatma. They are totally dependent on Paramatma. They are supported from by Paramatma. They exist because of Paramatma. They serve Paramatma only, and there is no other purpose for them. No purpose. All of us. There is no purpose but to serve Narayana, according to Vishishtadvaita. And what is the effect? The effect is say the effect is say pot. Pot is nothing but the mud. Mud is transformed into the pot. That's all. So transformation is allowed in Vishishtadvaita. But oh my God, then is Brahman transforming himself? He says that no. The transformation does not affect Ishwara, but Ishwara is ensouling everything. He is inside a Jiva. So the Jiva transforms, but Ishwara does not transform. But what is the Jiva's transformation? Not in its original Swarupa. There is no transformation in the essential stuff that makes up the Jiva, but there is transformation in the Dharma Bhuta Jnana, or his knowledge of the Jiva. Right? Due to bondage, it contracts. When the bondage goes away, the Dharma Bhuta Jnana becomes bigger and bigger. He knows more. And once the bondage is broken up, he knows everything. And he will become similar to Ishwara, but he is still Anu, or he is still, the Swarupa is still one small. So this is the Vishishtadvaita takes it. Okay. But Madhvacharya, both Dvaitans and Vishishtadvaitans find a fault, apparent fault, whatever that is, right? In the Advaita Bhashya, and say Mritika Ityeva Satyam is the original word. The Upanishad word says Mritika Ityeva Satyam. Satyam. That means mud, everything made out of mud is essentially mud only, right? Whether it is pot, bowl, or anything, that's mud only. Mritika Ityeva Satyam. That means it is what is true. The truth is that the mud is the one which is transformed itself into different products, and everything like the pot or bowl or something is same, essentially, truly only mud. And that is the reality. It doesn't mean that mud is only real and everything else is unreal. That's not the intent at all here. So that is why the word iti is very important. Mritika iti eva satyam. The truth is that all products of mud are only mud. The truth is the equivalence of all the products made out of mud is essentially only mud. That's all. But Shankaracharya takes it as Mritika eva satyam. There is mud is the reality, but the effects of mud like pot and a bowl, they're unreal. So his whole understanding of the Upanishad goes in a different way. And the Madhvacharya says there is no Mithya word in the Upanishad. Don't bring up Mithya. So the Mithya view should not be accepted as per Dvaitins. And what do you call? And further say Namadaya Shabda is also unnecessary for the Advaitic view, right? The Advaita can justify it in a way. But Mritika Ityeva Satyam, that is a little bit not justifiable. It's very hard to justify from the Advaita view. I've tried to think about it, but every time you ask a Advaitin, he says, why are you torturing the text? Why are you going deep into these textual issues? In Sanskrit, some of the expressions are like that. What is the essence? The essence is Brahman is real, the rest are unreal. That is the essence. This is the truth. So we have to take the summary, not go into small word issues. That's what the Advaitins will say. And that's what they have told me also, how much ever I ask them, that's what they say. You cannot go into nitpicky details of the words because some of these words in Sanskrit and Upanishads and all, they are not understandable to us. So in Sanskrit, there in original Vedas, there are some strange words and sentences. You know, what do you call Agnirmanavakaha or something is there. That is, oh, this student is fire. They say, how can student be fire? It is just an expression that the student is so brilliant and radiant and tejasvi. He is like fire. So similarly, you have to understand some words in a very, slightly altered way according to Advaita. So they say, that's how the Advaita justifies itself, right? I'm sure you're getting the point. Madhvacharya adopts the views of the Tarkikas, who do not focus on transformation, parinama. They don't agree with it. So everything causes a new product. For example, say, pot is created. Pot is new. What was not there before, you break the pot, it's gone. But before the pot was created, pot was not there. So they clearly take the logician's view, Tarkika's view, and that's how they go. They don't think that the mud became the pot, the transformation occurred. They are not interested in that. They may agree to it, but they ignore it. Brahman didn't transform. Neither did the Vishishtadvaitans agree that Brahman transformed, because Brahman, the Ishwara is not, nirvikara. This is a very big problem, by the way. We haven't even we are not even scratching the surface of this problem. So in the case of Madhvas, they are forced into this view that Hari is the creator. He is like the potter. He puts together the matter and everything and creates the universe. Matter and jivatmas all together, give them different bodies, different places, okay, he does it. He's like a potter, but he does not transform himself to become the universe. The transformation, the universe being a transformation, is only a transformation of Prakriti. The matter gets transformed in different ways. Plastic, you'll make a plastic bottle out of plastic. Like the matter keeps on transforming. You can do it. And that can happen. Okay, now we're coming to the slokas part, but I want to sort of stop here so that I can address people's questions here, because three views are different here. So in Vishishtadvaita, the transformation occurs to only Jada or matter, and little bit to Jiva. Jiva's Dharmoputta Jnana transforms, but Jiva does not transform. Jiva can go into different bodies. if that goes into a body of a snake, then it is only that knowledge, because it gets, the human knowledge will go away. It becomes reduced. So the knowledge shrinks or expands based on karma, according to Vishishtadvaita. So the transformation is for the jivas. But Ishwara knowledge is sarvajna, trikala sarvajna. Every moment he is all-knowing, omnipotent. He does not get transformed. But Upanishad says, like how mud gets transformed, Brahman gets transformed. So why don't you accept Brahman's transformation? Because the Brahman only transforms in the sense that he was the antaryami, or the inner controller of the prakriti, which was in the subtle state in the pralaya, inside himself. And now, when the expansion occurred, creation occurred, the same antaryami came to the created state, where he is ensouling the universe, as we see. So the ensouling is common, but the state of Brahman is different. In the prior to creation, he is associated with the Sukshma Chitta Chit, that is Sukshma, subtle matter, and subtle jivatmas. But in the created universe, he is associated with this gross universe of Jiva and Jada. So Vishishtadvaita theory is a little bit different. That's almost sort of acceptable to Madhva Bhashya also. A little bit, the Sharira Bhava, no, they don't agree, that's all. The small difference in Madhva view. But markedly, Advaita view here is different. Hope this is clear. If you know this, everything you study in whether it is, Bhagavad Gita, Upanishads, Brahma Sutra, all these things fall into place as these three models are different. Okay, now let's hear some talks here. We'll do it later. Now tell me if you have any questions. We are coming to the end of the hour anyway. Any questions?
Not a question, it's a comment. If we observe, all the three archers are trying to keep Brahman very clean.
Yes.
In their own.
Yes. The Mayavada is to keep Brahman clean. In fact, Shankaracharya keeps Brahman the cleanest, the most pure, because that Brahman is unrelated to the universe. Good, good observation. So that is why Maya theory is superior according to the Advaitins. Look, I'm not going to taint Brahman in any way. In Dvaita or Vishishtadvaita, he has to mess up. The potter has to work with mud and get dirty with mud. I'm not going to allow that. That's what the Advaitis say. And even Vishishtadvaita have to deal with it. He's an antaryami, he's sitting inside mud, he's sitting inside everything mud, maybe garbage, maybe junk, maybe anything. He's antaryami of everything. Oh my God, you Vishishtadvaitis are making this Brahman very, very dirty because he has got to connect with the dirty stuff. But Vishishtadvaitins try to escape. He's akhila heya pratyanika. That means no blemishes affect Brahman. He can be inside. Like how this Jivatma is inside my body, but the Jivatma is pure. If the body perishes and goes away, that's it, the body goes away. Body gets burnt, but it doesn't matter. But Jiva is pure, it goes out. So Jiva is untainted, is not hurt, not tainted by material connect. In the same way, Brahman is untainted from his creation, even though he is ensouling every moment. The same Antaryami Brahmana of the Brihadaranyaka, Yah Prathivyam Tishtanne Prathivyam Antaro Imayati Yam Prathivina Veda Yasya Prathivi Shariram. It starts with it and goes through like 20 objects and mentions that Brahman is everywhere, ensouling everything. Okay. All right. Anything else?
So I had one question.
Mm-hmm.
So even as per Madhva's view, Brahman is still the inner controller. So
That's
even
true.
for the Jada,
Yeah, Brahman is controller of Jada too. That is why it is difficult to differentiate between Madhvacharya and Ramanujabhashya here.
yes,
Only thing is, Ramanujabhashya, the Vishishtadvaita thinkers don't want to think about this Vacharambadam Vikaro Namadeyam. The words, the Sanskrit words are the true words, and the rest are all like Vikaras. They are Pradhana. Once you know the Sanskrit words, you will know all other words. It's a little far cry. It's not erroneous in some ways, but the thing is, Vishishtadvaita Bhashyas don't want to say much about it. They don't want to think in that way. And Madhvacharya uses the Bimba Pratibimba analogy, which is not acceptable, not so agreed upon by Vishishtadvaita.
but if we say even as per Madhvacharya, even though Brahman doesn't transform into the universe, but still if he is the inner controller, indirectly he is the creator of everything, even the Jada.
Yes. But the thing is, he is not transformed according to them. That's all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sir,
Okay.
this inner controller is not there in Advaita philosophy, no, sir? Inner controller, concept of inner control.
See, the thing is, it's very hard to say that. But the thing is, see, in Advaita, there is a switch, right? Switch means Saguna Brahman is there, right? Nirguna Brahman, if you look from below, he's Saguna Brahman.
Yeah.
Saguna Brahman is, so taking the Saguna Brahman analogy, everything works for Advaita. Saguna Brahman is also inner controller. You can say the Saguna Brahman, Sharira is this universe. So if you say Saguna Brahman, everything is same as Vishishtadvaita. But the Nirguna Brahman doesn't transform.
That's why they say when you do Upasana, concentrate on Saguna Brahman, then from
Exactly.
there you go to Nirguna.
Exactly.
That I did not understood that concept, why they're bringing like this. You do Saguna Upasana and go to Nirguna. Directly you're accepting there is Saguna Brahman only, no, sir?
Exactly. As far as all the transactions, Vyavahara is concerned, it is all Saguna Brahma only. Upasana can be done on only Saguna Brahma. So the thing is, Nirguna is at a different level. So Shankaracharya is very practical and says that this is Saguna Brahma only. You have so Saguna Brahma is important, Bhakti is important. You go to temples, you completely fall at his feet. Without surrender to Narayana, you will not get jnana. All these things are said in the Bhagavad Gita. That is why it is very hard to differentiate between these acharyas. These models may be different here and there. Ideology, model may be different, but their heart is sort of same. That, if you go deeper into the Bhagavad Gita Bhashya, you more clearly know that Tesham Hridayam Ekam Eva, the heart of these three acharyas is only one. They want to present it slightly differently, that's all. If you tell one story, if you have three children, and if you tell them one story, right, you ask them separately the same story after 5 days, they will tell it slightly differently. Similarly, it depends on the situation.
Another thing, sir, last note, sir. This Vyavarika world is true for both Sampradayas, sir. Vishishtadvaita and Madhvacharya Sampradaya. They accept universe is real.
What do you say?
No, Vishishtadvaitans and Madhvacharya, do they accept the universe is real? This existence in this world is real?
This is a very important question. Even in Vishishtadvaita, the Jiva and Jada is not as real as Brahman. But the definition of reality is different. The definition of reality in the Vishishtadvaita is that which transforms is not real. That which does not transform is real.
I didn't understood this, sir.
Okay, it's going to be, why don't we do one thing? This one, let us take it next class.
I know
the definition of reality in Vishishtadvaita, Advaita and Dvaita are different.
I'd just like to quote, sir, in one of the KSV sir's video, you asked this question, sir. KSV video. You sent us long time back KSV sir's video. some 12 videos were there. In that, each part he was explaining, sir. This one I couldn't understand that.
Yeah, why don't we
Okay.
send me a note about what lecture, which part, and which minute it is there. I will look into that lecture and let you know.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, and Gita verse 17 and 17th verse of chapter 15. Uttama Purushastvanya Paramatme Tudaharta Yolokatayam Avishya Vibharti Avyaya Ishwaraha. This one, definitely there are 3 separate bhashyas. Shankara Bhashya is different, Madhva Bhashya is different, and Ramanuja Bhashya is different. Each acharya slightly take it differently. See, the whole thing is this fundamentally these three acharyas are not very different. Here and there are differences. You need to slowly go through the differences. Then only you will know the actual difference. There is some difference. There is difference. No question about it. Okay. Asmat Gurubhyo Namaha, Asmat Parama Gurubhyo Namaha, Asmat Sarva Gurubhyo Namaha, Shri Krishna Parabrahmane Namaha, Shri Lakshmi Nrsimha Parabrahmane Namaha, Shri Lakshmi Hayavadana Parabrahmane Namaha, Shri Krishna.
Thank you, sir. Namaskaras.